I often get asked about dating and meeting women without alcohol. Now, me personally, I don't drink. I've never been drunk in my life, and it's just a choice that I've made. It's just something I was never interested in. But I've been able to be very successful at meeting women and dating without drinking alcohol or being drunk. And I've been able to go to bars, to happy hours, to clubs, to social gatherings, and on dates, not drinking any alcohol myself. So I want to share with you how to meet women and how to date without the use of alcohol. So first, let's talk about meeting women without alcohol. Now, I'm definitely, and it's not a surprise, I'm an advocate of meeting women in person. So this may be house parties, could be clubs, bars, happy hours, meetups, whatever it may be. Now, most of these events, alcohol is involved. So people ask me, what do you do? How do you go to these places sober and not drink and this and that? So the first thing that I want to talk about is the environment. A lot of people will resort to alcohol because they feel uncomfortable in that environment. And that was a big thing for me when I first started out with this, was if there were things that made me uncomfortable, I really wanted to desensitize myself to those things that made me uncomfortable, because I didn't want to be dependent on alcohol or other things. And like I said, alcohol was never an option for me. I never wanted to drink. So I had to become comfortable in those environments. And there's really no easy answer about this one. You have to put yourself out in these environments, face your fears, and see that there's no big bad wolf around the corner, and it's really not that big of a deal. At the end of the day, everyone in these environments only really cares about themselves. They're worried about what they look like, what other people think of them, and they're so focused on themselves that they're not worried and looking around seeing if you're drinking or not and thinking you're weird or anything like that. So being more focused on having a good time and not really worried about what other people are thinking about you is a great way to get comfortable in these environments. And nothing beats, like I said, going out, putting yourself out there, because if something feels like your backyard after a while, then you're gonna be very comfortable there. Now, if you've never been there before and it makes you nervous, then yeah, if you haven't gone and you're avoiding it, it's gonna get worse and worse. So I encourage anybody who wants to go out without alcohol to try going out sober and go in these environments and see that's really not that big of a deal. Another quick thing that I do in the environment is I really ignore all the other guys, right? If I've gone out just to meet women, I'll pay attention to my friends and the people I'm with, but I don't look around and really check out other guys or see who's mean mugging me or want to start a fight or things like that. And to be honest, I think I can recall one time I shoved some people in a bar years ago in another country, right? So fights and things like that don't really happen very much. So it's not really that hostile of an environment, especially if you're minding your own business and not paying attention to the other guys. Now the women, sure, if there's a girl you want to talk to, you may scan around, see one, and go talk to her. There's nothing wrong with that, but I definitely ignore the guys and a lot of the other stuff and commotion that's going on. Now, a big question that people ask when they want to know is, what do you say when, God forbid, someone says, why aren't you drinking, or where's your drink? Oh my God, what do I say to her? I've tried a million different responses to this, and I've done different things over the years. I'm at a point now where I'm very comfortable with the fact that I don't drink, and I just completely own it. That's what I do now. Someone says, where's your drink? I go, oh, I don't drink alcohol. I'm like, really? I'm like, no, I don't. And they're like, why not? I'm like, it's something that I just wasn't really interested in. And I'll just give them a straight up answer and just own it and act like, yeah, it's just something that I don't do. 9 times out of 10, if not 95% of the time, people hear that and they say, oh wow, that's amazing. I wish I couldn't drink too. And they usually give me a lot of respect. So that's what I do as far as my answer now. And a big key to add into there is you have to frame it properly when you say that you don't drink, okay? You can't say, oh, I don't drink. I don't like drunk people. Drunk people are stupid. You have to be very, very careful, okay? Very often, if you're at one of these events, you're gonna be interacting with a woman who is drinking alcohol. So if you sound like you're holier than thou, or you're high and mighty and you're better than people who drink alcohol, then that's really gonna crush your connection with the girl. So I say things like, hey, look, I think drinking is great for a lot of people. I think it's great for most people, right? People like to go out and have a good time and have some alcohol and not really worry about stuff. I think that's a great thing for a lot of people. It's just something that that I just wasn't interested in personally. It wasn't in the cards for me, right? So I actually say that alcohol is a great thing for a lot of people. It's just something that I've chosen not to do, all right? So when I frame it like that, I say, hey, look, you have the drinks, you feel comfortable, if you gotta get loose, that's no problem. I'm not judging you. Be who you wanna be. And that is a huge, huge, huge thing to keep in mind with your interactions with people. Nobody wants to feel judged or talked down to. Now, if you're not at a point where you could just own it and maybe you're just trying not drinking, there's a few things you could do. You could say something like, hey, look, I'm giving not drinking a shot for a little bit. People will understand that. You could say, I'm the designated driver tonight. You could say, I'm trying to get in shape, so I'm cutting out alcohol for a little bit. You could even say, oh, I was drinking earlier and I'm done drinking for the night. You could say these really simple, easy things, and people say, okay, and not worry to question you further. And God forbid, if someone did question you further, it's really not that big a deal. Not everybody has to be drinking. Now, another thing guys often say is, okay, if you're not drinking, do you get a water or a seltzer or something that looks like alcohol and hold it in your hand? No, you don't. It goes back to what I said before. You have to own the reason why you're not doing it. I like to have my hands free, as you can see. I'm an Italian guy anyway, so I like talking with my hands and moving my hands around anyway, but I like to have my hands free if I'm going to be touching somebody or shaking somebody's hand or whatever. I just don't feel the need to have a drink in my hand. If somebody does get me a water or give me something, I usually drink it really quickly and throw it away because I don't like having things in my hand anyway. So if you're going to not drink, own it. You don't need to try to blend in or fit in or try to avoid somebody asking you these questions. Whatever you've chosen to do as yourself, own it. There's nothing wrong with that. And the more you own it and the more respect you have for yourself, people will see that and they'll respect you even more. And also too, if you're practicing and trying to get better, you're going to retain much more and make much bigger changes in yourself of who you are if you're doing it sober versus doing it with the help of alcohol. You're always going to need that crutch to kind of get you going. If you're doing it sober and you're getting comfortable and getting confident in that environment, you're going to take that confidence and that social comfort with you to all other areas of your life. And that's been the biggest payoff for me with practicing my dating skills. Now let's talk about the actual dates. Dating without alcohol. Now, a very common date is if you had met somebody either off a dating app or at a bar or whatever, maybe you'll meet for drinks on a first date. Just a simple thing. Have a drink, especially from online, right? You have a drink, see if you guys get along. If it's going well, you could extend it. And if it's not going that great, you can go your other way, right? But having a drink with somebody is a really easy, simple, low-key thing that I like to do. And I'll tell you what, I still go to relaxed bars with women for dates. So what I do is I'll go there, and when we sit down, I ask the girl what she wants to drink. I don't let my decision influence hers, because if you say, okay, I'm getting water and I'm not drinking, the girl's usually gonna not wanna have a drink. So I'll ask her first and say, hey, what do you wanna drink? And then have her pick something. Either she orders it or I'll order it for her. And then after that, I'll order whatever I'm gonna have, either a soda or a water or a juice or whatever I'm gonna have. But I make sure that she orders her drink first, so she's gonna have whatever she wanted to have in the first place, and then I'll order my non-alcoholic beverage after, so that I'm not influencing the decision that she wanted to make. Now on the dates, you're definitely gonna have to explain a little bit more why you don't drink. Girls may say, are you recovering, or what happened in your past, or things like that. So I really, really want to emphasize what I said earlier of not being judgmental at all with not drinking. You could say whatever reason it is, you're trying it for a little bit, you want to cut it out, or like myself, it's just something that was never in the cards for me. I really wasn't that interested in. And I could say, yeah, I know I'm weird. I figure most people do, so I'm definitely different and weird, and that's okay. I'm totally cool with that. So I'll own it, but like I said, say that, hey, it's a great thing for a lot of people. People do it responsibly. They get loose. They want to take some stress off, whatever. All power to you, do your thing, whatever makes you happy. Doesn't bother me in the least. And that's not the only first date that I'll go on. I'll definitely do different dates as a first date. A great date is walking around somewhere, walking around a park, or walking around a street festival, or walking down a cool street downtown and popping in some stores. Or if you have some other things that you have going on, say you need to do some shopping or do a project or something like that, and inviting her along to come and do something with you is also a great date. So alcohol doesn't need to be involved in every single day, right? You can go to a pool hall or pumpkin carving, pick out a Christmas tree, whatever you want to do. You can do lots of things that don't involve alcohol as well. So those are some little tips to handle certain situations and how I do it and how I date without alcohol. And the main thing that I want you to take away is, if you've made the decision and you want to try it sober, you don't want to be drunk and you don't want to drink a bunch of alcohol, then own that decision and proceed the way that you want to proceed. And don't think that alcohol is 100% necessary, because I'm living proof that alcohol is definitely not necessary to meet women, even in alcohol conducive environments. And it's definitely not necessary for dates and other things like that. So you could still meet women, you could still date and have a great dating life without using alcohol. Just own up to it, don't feel embarrassed, be different. There's nothing wrong with being different. If anything, it's better to stand out than blend in anyway. So I respect you if you're looking to date and do this without alcohol, because I definitely think it's tougher, definitely when you first start, to get going and do, your approaches and dating and all that without alcohol. But I'm telling you, it's a great thing to do because it has a huge payoff. Like I said, if you get the comfort approaching women, if you have comfort dating and social confidence without the use of alcohol, that'll bleed over into all the other areas of your life. So I commend you for doing this and trying to do it sober. And if you ever run into conversations that get really boring, there's no chemistry, there's no tension in there, and you want to throw some flirting into those conversations, I put together a free cheat sheet on my website that has 5 techniques that you can use to break out of a boring conversation anytime. It's free on my site. I'll have the link below in the description at joeducard.com.